morning, everybody. My name is Lori, and today I'm going to talk about my budget for November of 2024. At the beginning of November, I showed y'all my budget, and now we're going to go over the month to see how we did in comparison. So my budget for the month was $11,275.08. This included money that was in my savings accounts as well as my take-home pay and money that my son contributed to household expenses. So our first bill was TV and internet, and the amount was $143.16 is the amount that I budgeted, and the amount it actually cost was $143.16. The water bill was budgeted $123.31, and it ended up being $76.03. My electric bill was budgeted for $107, and it ended up being $100. The natural gas bill was budgeted at $107, and I did not get the bill until the last day of the month, so I did not pay anything towards it. My cell phone was $31.04, and I paid $31.01. It's usually within 5 cents every month. My HVAC bill, which is $21.44, was $21.44, and that's the same amount I pay every month. It's basically a subscription. They come out twice a year to inspect the HVAC system and the heating and air conditioning system, and they don't charge me anything when they come out and do that. So for total regular expenses, my budget was $532.95. and I ended up spending $371.64. The next is planned variable expenses. So money I planned to put in my regular savings account was $198. I put in $196.82. This money is for my HOA dues, which are due in January. My secondary savings account is at $25, and I put $25 in there. Basically, that's an account where if I don't have a direct deposit every month, they charge me a fee. So for food and groceries, I budgeted $370, and it ended up being, at first it was $312, but I actually ended up spending about $437. So let me update that. I'll be right back. Alright, I updated that. And for coffee, I budgeted $30, and that's for a pack of 100 K-Cups. And I decided to go ahead and get a package of the loose also, and with the idea that maybe I wouldn't use as many K-Cups if I had the loose coffee. And I can either make my own cups or use the larger carafe. So for household supplies, I budgeted $52, and I spent $20.82. For gas, I only had to fill up one time. I budgeted $135 and spent $41.28. And for personal expenses, I budgeted $33, and I spent $27.16. So the total for planned variable expenses was $843 for the budget and $786.44 for actual. For my debt payments, my mortgage is $2101.82, and I spent $2101.82. My home improvement loan, which was for my HVAC system when I first bought the house, was $294.54, and I spent $294.54. My car payment is $534.86, and of course the payment was $534.86. My Citibank credit card, which I used to buy airline tickets and a laptop, I planned to pay $587.50, and I spent $787.71. For my Chase credit card, which is a 0% credit card I got to paint my house with, I planned $600 and I spent $674.68. My Lowe's credit card was for my windows for my house. I planned $509.14 and I sent $500.96. My second home improvement loan was for plumbing and a filter system for the house as $272.81 and I spent $272.81. My debt consolidation loan, which was originally my Citibank card, paid for electrical work and gutters and landscaping and a few other things. I planned $540 and I sent $574.41. And my personal credit card, which I used to replace the toilet and some personal stuff, I planned $255 and I only sent $100. The total debt payments was budgeted at $5,695.67 and I sent $5,841.79. All right. I planned infrequent expenses. I planned to send extra money towards escrow, and I did not get a bill from them for that, so I didn't send anything. My dentist, I got a crown. I was told to be $810. It ended up being $760. That money came from my healthcare savings account. For prescription refills, I planned $130 and it only cost me $43.74. Pretty sure that's because it's near the end of the year and I met my deductible. My NRRPT membership was $75 and I paid $75, but then I actually got reimbursed from my employer for that. For lawn care, my budget is $75 and they didn't come, but I was thinking maybe they weren't going to come, maybe they were done for the year, but then they actually showed up a couple of days ago, so that money actually needed to go into December. So my total planned infrequent expenses was $1,991.26, and I only spent $878.74. For unplanned but expected, because life happens, for emergencies, I planned $0 and I had no expenses. For house maintenance, my hot water heater leaked and needed to be replaced. Totally unexpected. Of course, I don't have any money saved up. And I don't know if you recall me saying before, but basically if it's an emergency, it's going to go on a credit card. And they were actually able to get me financing at 0% for 1 year. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to pay this off in 1 year, but the minimum payments are $123.94, I think. So I'm going to start making those payments, and maybe I'll actually be able to get it paid off in a year. If I can't, then it's like 18% interest. Car maintenance, I had no expenses. For lawn maintenance, no expenses. I mean, lawn maintenance is different from lawn care. I live in an HOA, and since I've lived here, they've sent me a lot of letters complaining about my grass, which has cost me a lot of money. And so I just put it on here just because if I get a letter from them, then obviously it's going to cost me. I'm trying to take better care of my grass, but I hate spending money on water. So that's the ticket, I think, for taking care of the grass is watering it, and I hate watering it. So for medical expenses, I ended up getting a UTI, and I had to go to urgent care for that, and then I went to my doctor for it too. So the urgent care visit was $28.42, and the doctor visit was $46.68. The prescriptions for it were only $3.64, so that's pretty cool. Glad about that. And then I ended up buying a bunch of products like, cranberry juice, and I don't even know. I bought just UTI tests, over-the-counter tests, pain pills, whatever I could think of to help take care of the UTI, and that ended up costing me $90.43. For family expenses, we had a death in the family. My sister passed away, so didn't have any money to actually go to the funeral. They live several hundred miles from me, and so all I could do was send flowers, and that was that. So for total unplanned, but life happens, so you kind of expected expenses, ended up being $4,540.63. So for extra things, I'm trying like heck to not spend money on my hobbies, but I suck at it. So it's something I really need to work on, but I ended up spending $118.21 for my clothes. I ordered a t-shirt because my employer just recently opened up a fitness center at the place where I work, and I wanted to have a t-shirt to wear to go to the fitness center, so I bought a t-shirt. I am trying to do the 100 envelope challenge again. I budgeted $103. I put $104 in there. For entertainment, I budgeted $0, and I did not do anything entertaining. For donations, I budgeted $200, and I spent $200. For gifts, I budgeted $30 and spent $24.96. I got my car washed, which I don't normally do, but my car was truly disgusting. So I went ahead and spent $15 to just do the drive-through car wash. For office supplies, ink, some other things, and I ended up spending $200.48, which is not awesome, but ink is very expensive. I got a couple of other office supply type things too. And so I had a buffer of $1,879.20, which ended up getting divided up amongst the various overages, but I spent $129.47. And so for extra things, I had a budget of $2,212.20. I spent $815.62. So my total expenses that I budgeted was $11,275.08, and I ended up spending $13,234.86, which is an overage of $1,959.78. So I got my graph here. I'm gonna zoom it out. Maybe. Okay, so my planned expenses was for planned regular expenses was for, something's happening here. About 5% of my expenses. I don't know what's happening there. It's not focusing right. Okay, so planned variable expenses about 7%. My debt payments ended up being about, this is the planned part. The debt payments was 51%. Planned infrequent expenses 18% budgeted. Unplanned but expected 0%, and extra things 20%. So here's the, let's see here, I'm going to do something different. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Planned regular expenses, I budgeted 5%, ended up spending 3%. Okay. Planned variable expenses, I budgeted 7%, ended up being 6%. Debt payments, I budgeted 51%, ended up being 45%. Planned infrequent expenses, I budgeted 18%, ended up being 7%. Planned but expected expenses, I budgeted 0%, ended up being 34%. For extra things, I budgeted 20%, ended up being 6%. Okay, so here's here's the planned. You can see debt payments. And here we have the actual. Anyway, I like visuals. Alright, so that's it for November. November was kind of an S show. And hopefully December will be better. Alright, I guess that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me. You have a good day. Bye-bye.